So today's English lesson, we're going to be moving on. We're still looking at Michael Mapogo's 6 Animal Adventures, and we're still looking at Mossop's Last Chance. So we've looked at loads of different parts of the story. We know the story really well. So today we're going to text map the story before we then start to innovate and change it later on in the week. So first thing we're going to do is going to recap the story really carefully. Now, to text map a story, we're going to draw small pictures to go with each part of the story. So you're going to have a little picture for Frederick, you're going to have a little picture for the farm, you're going to have a little picture for Mossop, and you're going to create a text map. So let's read the story together. Chapter 1. Frederick woke up the farm each morning, and the animals stretched and yawned and woke themselves up. Mossop is a tired old farm cat who sleeps on the seats of the tractor. Frederick the cockerel woke up the farm. Penelope laid her eggs. Auntie Grace and Primrose gave milk. Upside and Down cleaned the pond. Captain carried the farmer around the farm, and Jigger rounded up the sheep. Mossop slept all day. Chapter 2. Farmer Rafferty found the mice in the barn and shouted at Mossop. He told him he would need to leave the farm if he doesn't catch the mice. Chapter 3. Mossop spent the day looking for mice, but he couldn't find them. He gave up looking and went back to sleep on the tractor. Albertine the goose had a great idea. Chapter 4. Albertine and the animals planned to get the mice, to pretend they were dead and line up outside the house for the farmer to see them. Chapter 5. The farmer was so pleased with Mossop, he gave him a medal to say well done, and Mossop was allowed to stay on the farm. So there is a very quick overview of each chapter of our story. Now, it's not the full story, because if we were to text map the full story, it will take us an awfully long time to be able to text map it. So your job for the remainder of today's lesson is to text map each part of the story. Now, if you split it up into chapters, that will really help you. If you have a picture for each character, that will also help you, and you are drawing the story in pictures to go along your text map, with the idea being that at the end of the lesson you'll be able to retell the story through the pictures rather than using the words. So have another read of the story here to make sure that you have got the right ideas for each chapter, and then have a go at creating a text map. But just before we do, here are some things to remind you. First of all, write the time words. So first, next, then and finally. If you write them in full words rather than pictures, and if you've got a blue pencil, if you can write them in blue like we would do if we were in class, that would be really good. Use the correct punctuation, and if possible, if you have a red pencil, write your punctuation in red. So if you need a full stop, then pop a full stop on the end of your sentence once you've drawn it, and use a red pencil. Use the key events in the story rather than the full version, which is why the story on the previous slide was so short, because it's just the key events. And then you're going to write the story in order from the start of the story right through to the end. So looking back at our key events of the story here, we've got a very short explanation of what happens in each of the chapters. So if you use this in your text map today, text map it out really carefully and then send me a picture of it. If you keep your text map really safe, we'll be able to use them in the lessons tomorrow. Have lots of fun, and don't forget to send them to me.